Well, hi. Hey, hello. Hi. You're here. Yeah, no, there's an episode on right now. It's the South Dakota Gamer Podcast. I know episode 175 last week was the last episode. It's true. That was the final episode as I move my microphone. We aren't doing it anymore. But this is if you're familiar, you've watched the Marvel movies, right? In the last 10 years. What do they always have? At the end of every movie, every single time. Doesn't matter if the people get up and walk away like they've never seen a Marvel movie. Unfathomable how you could go to a Marvel movie in the theater these days and leave before the after credits scene. That's right. This is the episode 176 South Dakota Gamer Podcast after credits episode. You didn't think it was going to be here. You're probably shocked that there's something going on. And guess what? It's just me. Because just like it started, just like it began, the South Dakota Gamer Podcast began with just me, Chedvis, talking to whoever wanted to listen, whoever did listen. Who knows? I don't even know if you can find episode 1 on the internet anywhere, to be honest with you. I did try this last week and was unsuccessful in finding it. I looked in my hard drives and I couldn't find it either. So it may be lost to time, but it did begin about 4 years ago with just me sitting in front of a computer and a microphone talking about starting this podcast about video games. And here we are 4 years later. And if you tuned in last week, you know we're done. It's over. But I had to give an after credits scene, an after credits episode to kind of bookend, as Dave would say, the podcast, starting with just me and ending with just me. I have a couple things that I want to bring up, a couple things to talk about, and then maybe a little teaser, as all the credits do, the after credit scenes do, a little teaser for the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, maybe those particular characters. And in this case, there are particular characters that have been part of this podcast. And maybe there's a little tease that we can give you for what you can expect, if anything, going on in the future. So here I am, after credit scene, South Dakota Gamer Podcast. So a couple things. I didn't get to talk about God of War in the spoilers. I wanted to have an episode with Dave where we talked about it, but we never got to it. I'm not going to give a huge amount of information here, but I'm going to spoil it. I'm going to spoil God of War. Okay, the new God of War, the PlayStation 4. So if you don't want to hear that, you know what? I'll wait till the end because I don't want you to tune out at the very beginning and then never come back because you see how short it is and you're like, well, just screw that. I'm not going to listen. So I'll get to the end and I'll spoil that. Second, did you guys see the cracked sky in Fortnite? The sky was cracked. A missile was launched. The world, as Fortnite knows it, is changing. The new season is going to begin soon. As it is the biggest thing in gaming at this current time, it would be crazy not to mention Fortnite at least once during the After Credits podcast. So Fortnite's a big deal. The sky is cracked. My son got back from camp, went and watched it. He thought it was just amazing. Looks like some portals are being shown in the sky over the map. Lonely Lodge is disappearing. It's crazy. Fortnite, what a game. Sony continues to mention their crossplay issues, putting out other statements that just don't make sense, having to do with Fortnite specifically. So he was asked, Sean Layden, CEO of Sony of America, was asked by, let's see here, a gentleman, doesn't say, someone from Eurogamer basically asked him about what they would do about this cross-play and cross-progression. And Sean Layden says, we're hearing it. We're looking at a lot of possibilities. You can imagine the circumstances around that affect a lot more than just one game. I'm confident we'll get to a solution, here you go, which will be understood and accepted by our gaming community, while at the same time supporting our business. So we've talked the last few weeks about this not cross progression in Fortnite and cross play, Sony just not playing nice. And it seems like they just keep saying things that really don't say anything, in my opinion, saying that they're going to be confident that a solution will be understood and accepted. I don't know how they make a solution accepted by gamers, except that they cave and give in and let people at least get cross progression in Fortnite. So we'll see how that plays out in the future. Unfortunately, we won't be here to comment on that, but You have the internet, so I think you'll be fine. What I play, that's right, we're squeezing it all. What I play, I've been playing Assassin's Creed Origins, working on the Platinum. I decided to get back into that, and I've been bringing tamed lions to crocodiles, feeding corpses to crocodiles, all in search of getting those bronze trophies to unlock my 21st Platinum on the Sony PlayStation 4 platform. So, yeah, I'm excited about that. I also played a lot of PUBG, had some extra days to play, played with Dave, played with Mark, played with Tyler. We never won. It's been a week of no wins in PUBG, and I tell you, that's frustrating. Real frustrating. But we still play. We hate it, and we love it all at the same time. Gluttons for punishment, some might say. Just a couple more things. This is not going to be a long podcast, I promise. I'm shooting for 10 minutes. We're at 6, so let's move along, shall we? There's some games coming out here in July. We haven't done new releases in a while. As the summertime comes, we kind of work on our backlogs, like we're working on Assassin's Creed. So here's some new games that are coming out in July that may take you away from your backlog games. Red Faction Guerrilla is getting remastered, actually called the Remastered Edition. That's coming out July 3rd. July 5th, Mushroom Wars 2 is coming to the Switch. So you could read into what that might be, Mushroom Wars. Let's see here. What else? July 10th, nothing really exciting. July 11th, nope. Warhammer Vermintide 2 is coming to Xbox One July 11th. July 13th, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker coming to the Switch. Octopath Traveler coming to Switch. Definitely going to get that. I'm going to be on vacation, but I'm picking that up. Sonic Mania Plus. That's on the 17th of July if you're got money to waste, I guess. Banner Saga 3 on July 24th, coming to Xbox One, PS4, Switch, PC. Mega Man X Legacy Collections 1 and 2, those are also coming on the 24th. No Man's Sky is coming to Xbox One on the 24th, have all the extra stuff in it, that's cool. And that's really about it. So there's not a whole lot coming out in July, so you should have a good opportunity to still catch up on that backlog. Next, speaking of bad games and bad things in life and in general, like Sonic, I'm going to talk about Sonic. The last episode, the after credits scene, we're going to talk about Sonic, only to say that apparently Jim Carrey is going to be Eggman in a Sonic live action / CG kind of like Roger Rabbit movie. Mary Poppins, right? They had CGI plus live action. So Jim Carrey's going to play Eggman in the Sonic movie that's coming out next year. We've talked about it before. And I have a question. Is there any way that this movie is not bad? Is there any way that that's possible? I mean, I love Jim Carrey. I think he's funny. He's done some funny things. He's done some real bad things. Jim Carrey in a live action cross CGI Sonic movie as Eggman seems awful. That just seems bad. And then the fact that Sonic's in it too, it can't be good, right? Like, there's no way. There's no way this movie is going to be good. There's no way Dave is going to take his kids. There's no way Dave is going to take his girlfriend's kids and pay money to see this movie. I need proof that he does this. If he loves Sonic as much as he claims to love Sonic and say that it's good game, he would definitely want to see this movie. I have a hard time believing he's going to pay money for that. I'd like to see the ticket stubs, please. So finally, the penultimate before the final one. The tease for the future. We are no longer doing the South Dakota Gamer podcast. That is true. This podcast is over. The website's gone. The Facebook page will live. The YouTube page will still be there. But the podcast will no longer exist. This will be the final episode. There's only one after credit scene in this movie. And but there's a tease for maybe possibly something in the future. As you know, I like video games. I've done this a long time. We did it for years for nothing, for free. We had no money. It was money out of my pocket to do it. And I was happy to do so. And I know I will miss talking with Dave, talking with Josh, talking about games. But we do need some time off. But there have been talks. There has been discussion with certain individuals and myself about maybe doing something different. A little bit of the same, but different. Adding things to it, making it more interesting, maybe widening the audience possibilities. So stay tuned to that. We'll have announcements at some point in the future. When, I don't know. But there will be something out there. There have been discussions and talks. Nothing has been signed. Nothing has even been penned down. But there are meetings scheduled, in-person meetings scheduled for the near future with some of these individuals and myself. So undoubtedly something will come of these meetings, and we hope it'll be something you might enjoy. We'll see. We don't even know if we'll enjoy it. So stay tuned for that. There's your tease. And now for the God of War spoiler. Thor's in it, guys. Thor's in God of War. That's right. Once you finish the game, so you go through all the game. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I'm just going to spoil it just for spoiling's sake, not even for in a fun way. But you finish the game, you're taking your wife's ashes, right, to the top of this mountain, the top of the tallest peak in all the realms, which turns out to be in Jotun, which is where the giants live. If you're familiar with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that is where the ice giants live. And who's from in that? Even in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, who's from that realm? From the very beginning, the very first Thor movie, we see Loki, right? He's Odin's son, but we find out he's not. He is Laufey's son. He is an ice giant himself. And so as you take, as Kratos, your wife's ashes to this tallest realm, tallest mountain, tallest peak in the realm, happening to be where the giants are from, and your son is with you the whole time, you come to find out that he has powers. He's obviously part God, because Kratos is, and you think that your wife is just a mortal, but then you come to find out, no, she is a giant. Not all giants are tall. That's not what that means necessarily, but she's from that race. And you find out Loki is the name of your son. At the very end, you find out the name she gave him was Loki. So this whole time, Kratos and his giant wife have a son named Loki. And as they get to this temple in the giant's realm, there are murals depicted on the wall. Future, because some of his abilities and his mom's abilities were to see the future. There are murals on the wall where your son is killing Kratos, and they have a discussion about killing fathers, and obviously we know Kratos killed his own father. But yeah, so your son is Loki, and undoubtedly that'll play into the future. So when you're done, you're walking down the wall, down the mountain, and we talked about this before. There's no cuts, right? Throughout all the movie, it's all one solid frame, all one live action, no cuts, no loading screens. So when you get done and you're walking down the mountain as the credits roll, you can go to your house afterwards. And when you go to your house, you're there. You're like, oh, finally we can rest, we can sleep. And what's up, Ian Wrestling King 83. Hello. When you finally get to your house, you sleep, you go to bed, and then you wake up in the middle of the night with like lightning and thunder outside and loud noises. And you go outside and there's Thor standing in your yard with his hammer on his hip. And you basically just see a silhouette. You see his beard, you see the lightning and the thunder in the background, and then ends the game. So undoubtedly, God of War 2, or whatever they end up calling it next, will have Thor as your antagonist, I would assume. You'll have to fight Thor. You never see him up to that point in the game. They talk about him. They talk about Odin, but you never see Odin. The only gods you really see are Balder, who's at the very beginning. It was very cool. And then you see Thor's two sons. Can't remember their names, but you have to fight them. So what a game, guys. If you have a PlayStation 4, God of War, you need to play that game. If you don't have a PlayStation 4, you need to find a way to get a PlayStation 4 just to play God of War. There's a lot of other great games. Obviously, Spider-Man's coming out soon, but you need to get it out to play God of War. So, all right, well, that's it. I'm approaching 15 minutes, which is 5 more than 10 if you do the math. But that's it. That's the end. That's the end of this podcast. That's the end of this podcast forever. This was the after credit scene. It is over. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for the future. We may have some interesting news for you. Thanks for the downloads. Stay subscribed to this podcast. Just going to throw it out there. Just stay subscribed to this feed. You might find something. Okay? All right, guys. As always and forever, It's been my pleasure to serve you. Good night.